Swadika, thank you for joining us on Newsline. We're broadcasting live on NBT and Radio Thailand FM 88. It's a Tuesday today and the date is October 7th of 2014. I'm Sandra Utsaha. His Majesty the King is recuperating at Siriraj Hospital following a surgery to remove his gallbladder. The Bureau of the Royal Household issued a statement saying His Majesty's fever is lower this morning and his blood pressure is returning to normal. A team of doctors continued to administer antibiotics and an intravenous drip. Last night, doctors found His Majesty's gallbladder very swollen and decided to insert a camera into the stomach to remove the gallbladder. The operation was deemed satisfactory by the medical team. His Majesty was admitted to Siriraj Hospital on Friday night after developing a high fever. Thais from all walks of life have been heading to Siriraj Hospital to convey their best wishes to His Majesty. Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha led his cabinet to sign a well-wishing book for His Majesty the King at Siriraj Hospital earlier in the day and later chaired a meeting of the Rice Policy Committee at Government House. General Prayut, along with his wife and cabinet members, presented His Majesty the King with a vase of fresh flowers and signed their wishes for His Majesty's speedy recovery. According to the Bureau of the Royal Household, people are able to sign well-wishing books at Siriraj from 8 to 1800 hours every day. The Prime Minister later attended a meeting of the Rice Policy and Management Committee at Government House. Topping the agenda was the Ministry of Commerce's proposal to lift the ban on cross-province shipments of farm goods in order to provide greater flexibility to traders. The issue is of great concern to the Thai Rice Mills Association, as the government might consider lifting the ban only in some parts of the country. The association claimed that the ban has prevented them from transporting the grains they have bought from farmers out of border provinces. The association is therefore urging the government to quickly lift the ban before the new harvesting season begins. The meeting was also scheduled to consider expediting reimbursement for the prepayments on rice sales to the dealers. The money will be paid through the Public Warehouse Organization. And welcome to today's segment of Thailand Moves Forward. And now on to today's headlines. All members of the NRC are set to report to the Office of the Secretary General the day after the royal endorsement. All members of the NRC are set to report to the Office of the Secretary General the day after the royal endorsement, and among the members chosen for the council are leading academics such as Bawansak Uwano, Chayanan Samutwanit, and Tien Chai Kiranan. The NRC also includes several former senators, including Rosana Tositrakul, Jamsak Bin Thong, and Direk Thung Phang. The move followed the government's approval for the 250-member council on Friday to draw up political reforms and approve a new constitution. Reforms would focus on 11 areas, including government administration, energy, and justice. Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha asserted martial law will remain in effect due to the fact that political movements still persist. According to General Prayut, martial law needs to be kept in place to prevent mishaps that may be perpetrated if martial law is not in place. He said that in such an event, he would have to take responsibility as head of the National Council for Peace and Order, or NCPO. He added that his coming to office had no hidden agendas and asked for the public to give him moral support and allow him time to do his work. On the same day, Army Chief Udomdeit Sitabut said the military needed to keep martial law in effect in order for it to oversee the situation in the nation at present. The military must have full confidence that situations can be handled before lifting martial law. The National Legislative Assembly, or NLA, is expected to complete the setting up of all committees this week in order for the legislature to be ready to review the impeachment motions, which the anti-graft agency is expected to submit for deliberation soon. NLA Second Vice President Pirasak Pojit said that the Assembly has not received the impeachment motions against former Senate President Nikhom Wairachpanit and former House Speaker Somsakit Suranon, which the National Anti-Corruption Commission is sending back for deliberation just yet. Mr. Pirasak added that while waiting for the return of the widely watched motions, the NLA plans to set up all 16 committees needed to assist its work by the end of this week in order to have representatives from all teams to join the NLA whip, which will be responsible for the review, the screening, and the suggestions on all matters that will be presented to the legislature. Concerning the appeals court's review of the NLA's legal power to impeach any holder of political office, Mr. Pirasak said that the legislature will still continue performing its tasks as allowed by law until the court has reached any decision. Finance Minister Mr. Somai Pasi will lead a Thai delegation to the annual World Bank and International Monetary Fund, or WBIMF, meeting in the United States. According to the ministry spokesperson, the meeting will take place during the 9th to the 12th of October of 2014 at the WBIMF headquarters in Washington, D.C. Prior to the meeting, and the finance minister will attend the Thai Forum in New York on the 8th of October, which is tomorrow, to strengthen American investors' confidence. The WBIMF meeting will involve boards of governors from 188 member countries with a twin goal agenda of creating stability amidst global inequality while addressing the challenges and the role of the World Bank in combating poverty. The Minister of Finance has prepared a speech about the economic situation in Thailand and his view on the WBIMF's role in the global economy. The Thai Minister of Agriculture and Cooperatives and the Minister of Plantation Industries and Commodities of Malaysia have discussed ways to solve the declining prices of para rubber. After meeting with Mr. Douglas Ugambas, Malaysian Minister of Plantation Industries and Commodities, Thai Agriculture and Cooperatives Minister Pitipong Pungbun Na Ayutthaya said there would be another meeting between representatives of major rubber producers from Thailand, Malaysia, and Indonesia at the end of this month in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Other small producers from Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia will also be attending the meeting, which is said to be for high-ranking officials to find both short- and long-term solutions. The Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives has instructed the Department of Agriculture and the International Rubber Conference Organization to collect data related to the issue, including individual countries' measures, and to present them at the meeting. According to the World Bank, Thailand's economic growth is forecast to grow 1.5% in 2014 before rising to 3.5% next year. World Bank East Asia and Pacific chief economist Sudhir Shetty revised the growth forecast for Thailand down to 1.5%, the lowest in Southeast Asia, down from the original 3% target in April due to less than robust domestic demand. Next year's growth has also been adjusted down from 4.5% to 3.5%. In the second half of this year, domestic demand is expected to recover as consumer and investor confidence will slowly recover with increased political clarity in the kingdom. The fact that overdue payments for farmers in the rice pledging scheme had been paid also contributed positively to future GDP growth. He added that the economic implications of the political unrest in Hong Kong on Thailand will be limited and China's slower growth will not likely impact Thailand's trade and investments. The bank also trimmed its 2016 growth forecast for the East Asia and Pacific region to 6.8% from 7.1%. The Deputy Permanent Secretary for Transport expects adjustments to the public transportation fares to be concluded at the end of this month. Deputy Permanent Secretary for Transport, Thirapong Raprasert, revealed that the Department of Land Transport, or DLT, is swiftly examining the policy details proposed by Transport Minister, Air Chief Marshal Prajin Jantong, to make adjustments to public transportation fares. This week, Mr. Thirapong will invite representatives of taxi operators to discuss viewpoints and will gradually welcome representatives of other types of public transportation vehicles to give their input. Once all the information is gathered, the DLT will forward it to the Transport Ministry in hopes of reaching a conclusion on fare adjustments by the end of this month. Thailand has seen an increase of more than 32% in the number of factories established in the month of September. Director General of the Department of Industrial Works, Pasu Lohan Chun, has disclosed that 536 new factories were established in the month of September alone, an increase of 32.67% from the same period a year ago. Total value of the new factories was 32.51 billion baht, an increase of 11.57% on the previous year. But even with the latest number of the new industrial establishments, the total number of newly constructed industrial factories from January to September stands at 3,307 factories, a decline of 3.87% from the same period last year. The total value of investment on such projects was worth 263.78 billion baht, also a drop of 0.17% compared to the same period last year, according to the Director General. For the first 9 months of the year, the industries with the most number of new establishments were the metals manufacturing industry, with 323 new factories, and the automobile and parts manufacturing industry, with 304 new factories, said the Director General. The Director General of the Department of Industrial Works also noted that the increased number of new factories last month was largely due to changes made to the approval acquiring process since July, which has shortened the 90-day process to only 30 days. Minister of Labor General Surasak Kanchanarat has assigned the Department of Employment, or DOE, to speed up the registration of over 3,000 illegal immigrant workers in order to prevent a repetition of crime similar to the Koh Tao murder case. Permanent Secretary for Labor Nakhon Salapa-Acha said the instruction came after a speech by Prime Minister General Prayut Chan-o-cha in his weekly TV program Returning Happiness to the People on the 3rd of October, during which he underlined the need to speed up the registration of illegal labor and prosecute law-breaking employers. Consequently, the ministry will send out a mobile team to register alien workers in Koh Tao from the 13th to the 27th of October. However, the registration will be held in nearby Koh Phangan district, since Koh Tao has no available X-ray machines necessary for the operation. On the 11th of October, the Labor Minister and other executive members of the ministry will visit Chonburi Province in order to discuss with local entrepreneurs problems and obstacles to the registration of illegal labor. However, the Permanent Secretary for Labor called on employers to hire Thai workers as their priority workforce. If after that they still do not have enough laborers, they can ask for an immigrant labor quota at the DOE. The minister added that employers who hire illegal labor will be prosecuted in accordance with the Immigration Act of BE 2522. They will be charged with providing accommodation, hiding or assisting illegal labor to evade arrest. The punishment includes an imprisonment of not more than 5 years and a fine not exceeding 50,000 baht. The Royal Thai Police is launching its 1599 hotline to prevent stressed-out policemen from committing suicide. In a bid to solve the problem of the high number of suicides by police officers, National Police Commissioner Somyot Phumpanmuang is launching a hotline for stressed policemen to call. The hotline's call center will be staffed by psychologists from the Police General Hospital, who will also consult with other staff drawn from the police force to advise the callers about specific woes frequently faced by policemen. According to Police General Somyot, studies have found several factors that contribute to suicides by policemen, which include financial issues, stress from work, family problems, and illness. He has also told officials in supervisory roles to closely look into the well-being of their subordinates and provide them with moral support. Police General Somyot added that the setting up of the hotline is in response to the increased number of suicides by police officers over the past 1 year. And that's the end of today's edition of Thailand Moves Forward. Before our break, let's have a quick look at the exchange rates and commodity prices.
Open the world of information. Embrace public participation. Present Thailand to the world. New dimension of the government's public relations. The 81st anniversary of Public Relations Department. Creative media for society and mobilizing Thailand towards the ASEAN community.
Welcome back to Newsline. Hong Kong's police force said the number of Occupy Central protesters had decreased yesterday, but many occupants were still taking over major roads. Chief Superintendent of the Police Public Relations Bureau said in Mong Kok at Lung Wo Road and at Tin Hua Road, some protesters agreed to leave peacefully and orderly and cleared barriers. However, many protesters still lingered in busy areas where they are interrupting traffic and affecting nearby businesses and communities, we added. The police chief also warned of other conflicts as the protests had caused tempers among some local residents to flare. The police also asked Occupy protesters to evacuate peacefully soon so that traffic can resume in affected areas such as the city's central government offices. According to the Hong Kong police force, 27 officers were injured during the Occupy Central movement since it started on September 28th. Typhoon Panphon lashed Japan with torrential rain yesterday after killing at least one person, forcing the cancellation of flights and prompting warnings to more than 200,000 people to evacuate their homes before heading out to sea. 3 U.S. servicemen were swept away by high waves lashing the southwestern island of Okinawa on Sunday as Typhoon Panfon approached. One was found dead and 2 were missing. A surfer was swept out to sea. The storm brushed past the capital, Tokyo, and by early afternoon was out over the Pacific, leaving behind skies clear enough that Mount Fuji was clearly visible to the southwest. Close to 200,000 households throughout eastern Japan were urged to evacuate due to fears of landslides or flooding as rivers threatened to burst their banks. This included some 20,000 in Tokyo. American British scientists John O'Keefe and Norwegians May-Britt Moser and Edvard Moser won the 2014 Nobel Prize for Medicine or Physiology for discoveries of cells that constitute a positioning system in the brain. Secretary of the Nobel Committee for Physiology or Medicine, Göran Hansson, said the Nobel Assembly at Karolinska Institute has decided to award the 2014 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine with one half to John O'Keefe and the other half jointly to May-Britt Moser and Edvard Moser for the discoveries of cells that constitute a positioning system in the brain. The Nobel Assembly at Sweden's Karolinska Institute said in a statement when awarding the prize of 8 million Swedish crowns or $1.1 million that the discoveries have solved a problem that has occupied philosophers and scientists for centuries. Medicine is the first of the Nobel Prizes awarded each year. Prizes for achievements in science, literature, and peace were first awarded in 1901 in accordance with the will of dynamite inventor and businessman Alfred Nobel. The White House said yesterday that the Obama administration is not considering a ban on travelers from countries most affected by the deadly Ebola virus outbreak. White House spokesman Josh Earnest told reporters at a daily briefing that a travel ban is not something that we're currently considering. American officials have said they would consider new ways to curb the worst outbreak of the disease on record after the first case of Ebola was detected in the United States last week. The patient, Thomas Eric Duncan, flew from Liberia, the country hardest hit by the West African epidemic, before developing symptoms. He remained in critical condition in a Dallas hospital yesterday. Along with Liberia, Ebola has wreaked havoc in Sierra Leone and Guinea. It has also spread to Nigeria and Senegal, but is considered contained in those countries. The world's largest beer festival, the annual Munich Oktoberfest, ended for the 181st time on Sunday with a traditional gun salute, and the way it began, with tents filled with tens of thousands of singing and cheering revelers from around the world, drinking from the unmistakable 1-liter mass beer mugs. The 2-week event, which kicked off on September 20th, saw the staggering attendance of 6.3 million visitors. But festival organizer and Munich's deputy mayor, Joseph Schmidt, said colder temperatures meant the number of revelers was slightly down compared to last year's edition. The biggest groups of international visitors came from the U.S., Italy, and Australia, the fair's website reported, saying also that more than 1,000 items were found, including pieces of clothing, passports, mobile phones, purses, and the annual unavoidable set of dentures. And that's it for today's edition of Newsline. For any comments or suggestions, please feel free to email them to us at newsline.nbt@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook by simply typing in NNT, and you can check out our website at thainews.prd.go.th/newsing. We're going to say goodbye with a baby kangaroo in Ubon Ratchathani Zoo. Have a great day. I'm Sandra Han Utsaha. Sawadee ka.